Good morning. Oh, is it actually Friday? That snuck up on me. Probably gonna be a short stream today. Some other stuff done. Okay, let me get my phone set up. I did have a discussion with some of the so is it something Toast Eater Discord? One of the primary dev on GD native Rust stuff. So trying to get my phone set up. There we go. Okay. I did change some of the code last night. I'm not sure if this is the right way of doing it. Um, I'm manually marking this as being send scene node. I have a scene node in order to be able to mark a node as send. What I was trying to do was keep a reference to it in Rust terms. I wanted to keep a reference to a scene. The current scene, it's a node. That's what I wanted to basically. How do I explain this? Well, let's explain this inside of Godot. Whenever we start a game in Godot, get that going. Oops, and we're starting soon. Hold on, let me take that banner down. There we go. Okay, so when we start a scene in Godot, start the game. Well, it's running. When we come over here on the right side, see the scene panel on the right, the file system scene. Well, there's these little buttons here. We got local and remote. If we click on remote, we'll connect to the running game, the running app. You have root, scene manager, and then welcome. Well, welcome is the scene that I want to know about, being that it's always getting loaded last. When we change scenes in the game, this one will go away, and the next one will get added, the last element in this list, in this structure. So this is the last one, and welcome is what's going to be what I want to have a handle for. It starts out as bootstrap. That's the scene that Godot loads by default. So it starts as bootstrap. I haven't verified that. I don't know what the timing is between the auto loads and the scenes loading. So I wanted to be able to keep something, and I wanted to have something that was more or less lazy, static. There's a reason for it, and it's because I would like code that looks like this. I want to be able to say, scene manager, go to that. I don't want to have a lot of like complicated logic every time I go someplace. Just a single line, take me there, we're done. So if we come into here, go to, which is unsafe, gets the current scene, lock, unwrap, because it's a Archime text. It is a ref, map it, scene, get the type node. We're looking for basically a singleton. And this is actually a fairly really good way of getting these singletons that are inside of Godot. Which if we come back here into project and we look in auto load, this is scene manager here. And this is what gets tagged into the, not the local, but the remote running instance. So whenever you create one of these auto loads, they show up in this list before your actual scenes do. Unless you're doing something crazy where you preload something and move it before some of the other elements, it'll be kind of first in the list. And if you have a number of them, they will all be in that area. Hmm. I almost want some other type for being able to get these elements here. Problem is you have to have some sort of current scene in order to get that, which means you need something like what we have here. We need this. Guess what we could have done is stored something else. We go into this get type node. And we're not getting the tree here, are we? Yeah. Because you either need to have basically an object, a owner that you're basically asking for this stuff, and expect that it's attached, or do something else. Hmm. Yep. That seems to be working okay. A little concerned about this bit here, because I'm not sure on the kind of the semantics of node. Node in this case, I just don't know if I'm using this right. Here, let's go back to the code. I'll show you what I'm thinking. When do we get a hold of that? Where is it? Ah, here. We're wrapping this new scene, stuffing it into the option, doing the replace, which works brilliantly here. We go to the new scene. This is because we instantiated one. Where? No. Okay. Yeah, that is it. Okay, so in this case, we actually instantiate one right here. And if the new scene can be instantiated, then we add it as a child. Now, a question for you. Should we be keeping a hold of root for the new scene? Not sure. So we could always get the last child of the root. I think it's more accurate if we get the last scene. But in this case, when we replace the scene in our mutex, is this a borrow or a copy? We're not cloning. Here's node. We have clone and copy, and I'm not sure what this stuff means. If we clone or copy, is that actually going to be pointing to the same thing? Let's see. Node is an unsafe pointer, and all of its methods are unsafe. Okay. Memory management. Non-reference counted objects, such as the ones of this type, are usually owned by the engine. In the case where RISC code owns an object of this type, For example, if the object was created on the Rust side and not passed to the engine yet, ownership should be either given to the engine or the object must be manually destroyed using node free, which we do give it to the engine. I believe that's what we're doing when we call add child here or set current scene. We have both of these. So in this case, I think it's actually given to the scene. But what happens if we clone it and then we free it? Or excuse me, if we clone it, keep a reference to it, and then later enqueue free on this. Because what ends up happening is we keep a hold of it, and then later, when we switch to another scene, we come in here and we free it. Is this just freeing our copy of it because we didn't call clone? Is it the same instance that the engine has? Not sure. I wonder if there's a way to check that. To verify that those are the same or different. I guess we could add it and then try to get it back. Get the list of children and see what their pointers are. For comparison. This add child, is it going to tell us what we're calling into on these? If we go to root, look at add child. Oh, it wants the option. Okay, so it's just an option to a node. If we do, is there a get child? There is. Get children. It's a variant array. Look at get child. Give it the index, etc. If we get the child of the root node, it's the last index, we should tell. Oh, I wonder what get index does. Ooh, that might be telling. If we ask it what its index is after we've added it. So here we have new scene. At this point here, let's go debug. We'll call get index on that. That should give us a number. I don't know what it's going to do because it's not normally at this point it's not attached. It doesn't have an index. Is it going to give us like a -1? Interesting. And then after we've added it to the scene, and it might have been cloned there, I'm not sure. Okay. I also want to change the welcome scene. But instead of us going to login, I'm going to go to scenes. We'll go back to the welcome scene if we hit login, just so we have our little loop going today. There we go. Let's go to Godot. There we go. Okay. Ah, so it was -1, and it became 1. Okay. Now I'm going to hit the button. -1, then 1. Okay, so we did reload the scene. Created it again. Check something else. I don't want to know what node is in this case. Let's go look at the browser. Got so many tabs open, just digging through their code. This is their native script stuff. Fine. Yeah, not much here, if I remember correctly. We do have the headers. Hit node path new. Okay. I thought this was basically a description file of entire API. It seems like it's got some other stuff in it. Excuse me, that it doesn't have any of the. Oh, I see. This is Godot color get the HSV. I see. So we want Godot node. We have a lot of path stuff, but what else? It's mostly just path. I don't think it's in there. Generated file. What's a native script? Nope. Guessing it's going to be in like the bindings generator or we have object with some other elements in here. Our Godot object. Great. And this is the property. Okay, that's core. Build RS give us. File create out path. Generate classes. That's coming from the bindings generator. Got it. I see. Okay, well, let's come back over here. Over here. I have some tests in here. Types. Oh, wow. I was looking for the bindings. I thought I already built this. Hmm. Well, looks like it's blocked for a moment. Take a drink. Okay. Well, while that's cooking, I'm gonna come back over here. I wanted to have some properties in here. I didn't want to have to specify in hard code the scene names in here. When Bootstrap first loads up, should have some other property. Come back here. We look at the Bootstrap scene. Right there, we should have some property here in the inspector, which says, hey, which scene do we load first? Let's do that. Not sure how. As this would be adding properties that we can inspect here. Next scene. Yeah, what do we do here? Okay. Oh, browser. Sorry. Rearrange some of my stuff. There we go. We're going to go back over there. Godot Rust. Look at their examples. Do they have property in here? Ah, spinning cube. Using editor properties. Hey, Carter. Morning. Interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Why is this outside of the init register with my function? In one of the other examples, it was inside, or is that? See, I thought I already had a register with. Ah, grumble, grumble. And myself, I'm forgetting to switch scenes. So in this case, they're They inherit from GD native mesh instance. They have a native class. This register with actually outside of the init. Or excuse me, the impl. I had seen them inside of the impl before. And there's just the regular lib stuff. Add property, add property. Does this have two? See rotate speed, what are they adding for? Test and testing them. So where do we get those? Where do we get those properties? So here we're looking for test enum. With getter. Yeah, this example is, oh, there is a lot of unsafe. Okay, I'm not sure what should be done here. With getter, what is it supposed to be doing? See this here, this seems to make sense. Let's go look at this. Oh, that's a unit testing thing. GD native, here we go. Native class. We have property and register with. I want to look at the property stuff. Nope, not in there. It's not going to be in there. Documentation on it. Class builder. With getter, with setter. Okay, so get foo and set foo, you can actually assign those to your own types. With a default and a hint. This is more, this is actually more helpful than the, than their example. Okay, let's play with that a little bit. So if we wanted to get a setter, we could use the register methods on class builder and add our own properties. However, if we do property, give it a path. We do foo bar. Now in this case, if we do have one, if let sum scene self.next scene, find a shared reference. Just borrow it. Oh, this thing actually built. All right. Okay, that built. Let's go back to Godot. Put a run. Got like a foo and a bar in here. I should not go to the main scene yet. Good. What didn't? Stuck there at Bootstrap. We get rid of that little window. Come back over to Remote and click on Bootstrap. Ah, script variables. We have foo and bar. Okay. Come back. Click on it. Oops. Script. Huh, what did I do? Stop it running. I'm gonna clear it. Looks like I can't re-add it. Strange. Attach script. Okay, now that's loaded. I don't know why it did that. Also, I don't see foo in here. Where am I supposed to enter that? I was hoping it would be like in the script area, something like that. Doesn't seem to be there. Okay. But it's 2 seconds. Back here. Nope. Reloadable is on. Fine. Odd. Okay, back to Bootstrap. Maybe we have to put it under one of these existing elements like node or something else. Look at their example again. Here, property path is equal to base. What if base is special? Here we have test. Oh, I see. With getter. Hmm. Let's see, what else will they have? Let's look at mob. Property default. But here they just have default. Do they have a register? They don't. Also using mutex data for mob. I wonder if we have to explicit about that. I know they have a default. Don't remember what it is though. If you don't specify this, they choose one. Alright, let's just try setting the default on those. Path. Default is none. Should be able to parse attribute arguments. Error. Expected literal. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we could actually parse that. I'll bet it doesn't know. I'll bet it just doesn't know how to do that. Does string have an is empty on it? If it's not empty, we'll go to the next scene. Bootstrap. Anything new in here? Canvas item, node, script, pause. Nope. All right, let's use back and do path. But there's something to do that limits. That's limiting us here. Path equals is next. I don't know. Just making stuff up there. Let's do this as a Godot string. Oh, that wants something else. So we're trying to pass that into something that needs a string reference. Let's say the engine gives us a string. How do we take that to a stir or reference? So we can convert those from stir. Ends with yada yada. New reference. Substring. Range. To sys. Oh, that's one of the system strings. They do have two string. Okay, let's try that. Give it a build. Load it up in Godot. Still nothing there. Okay, let's try it with the register function. I'm going to find that page again. All right, back here. I think it was spinning cube. Okay, let's try that. This is a class builder. I keep losing my tabs. I'm going to move some of them around. Down over to the end. There we go. We're going to chuck that. Keep a string around. I think what we should do is register with. Oh, register with. Now previously I did use this. That was in Scene Manager. You can see that I off of self register signals. Means that I could put it inside of the impl block. I might do that again. We'll just call it register. Interesting that it doesn't throw on that. Does it detect that it doesn't exist and just... Is it a register? Oh, let me check something. Just saw a couple frames drop. No, we're good. Apparently no frames were dropped. Thinking of that second. Okay. Go on. Builder. Oh, look at these. Oh, property. Oh, fancy. Default. What's our default on this? How about I do empty string into that? Huh. I was hoping I could give it a name and then it. Anyhow. With hint. What type does that want? Look at the browser. Add property. This is a property builder. Oh, they have with setter. They also have with SHR setter. Wait, how is that different? Where the mutable C, what does C come from? Where C is a native class type being registered and T is the type of the property. I see, so in this case it's mutable, in this case it's not. Ref getter. Okay, and in this case with default T, the setter may or may not actually be called with this value. Show declaration, please. Option T. I see. And does T have any other constraints? Huh. What does export mean here? Init property export. Oh, and it's implemented on these foreign types. But it is on string. All right, let's go back to the code. Default. Commander Thrashton, morning. Or evening. Or happy right now. Okay, what do we want to give it for a hint? Now, so when we say with hint, it sets an editor. Hint is T as export hint. Ooh, okay. So whatever the string's hint type is. Type specific hint that is valid for the type being exported. Ah, so if we look at export, put it on these foreign types. Here we have a string hint. Oh, interesting. So we can give it a string hint and it can be file. Oh, that's handy. Okay, let's try that. Oh, back to the code. Okay, so with hint in this case. I think I need to import this trait. Hit export. Because it should make hint available on that. Does it? Hmm. That's an editor hint. But how do we specify that we want the other one? Type hint, yes, yes. Now we had actually made a little bit further in this. So let's one string. Oh, where was it? File hint. Export hint. What was that enumeration? Right. Gone. Let's see, can we just go back? With property builder, with setter, with hint. Go to property builder. We're already in. Because I'd like to use the file hint or whatever, but okay. I'm gonna just comment that out for a moment. That too. Go back to the code. Let's change these. So self get and set next scene. Okay, those don't exist. I wonder if we have to export that. Get next scene. Oh, it expects to take 2, but it only took 1. Ah, what is... Alright, I'm looking for something. Setter supposed to be in G. Oh, I see. We still need owner. Okay, that's it. And in this case, we don't care. That should get us closer. Okay, that needs to be immutable. Alright, Godot. What do you got? Not, not impressed. I guess I doubled that, but I'm not impressed. Where's this supposed to be? Or do I have to give it... I'm not seeing it in there. Let's try it with foo, like in their example. Is that even getting called? Do we have to export that? No, we didn't. We didn't have to register it here or export it. Okay, it's fine. I don't know. I just want to see something. Doe underscore. Is that even getting called? Okay, so that did get called. Ooh, still not in the item inspector. We run it. And look at the remote. There's foo in there. Who is in there? The script variables. That's not useful if it's only when we run it. We want to be able to set it here in the editor. Oh. Maybe we have to choose one of these sections to drop it in, like if we did node/foo. Oh no. You just put in your notice today. Oh dear. Well, is it a good thing or a bad thing? I hope that good thing. What are your plans? Ah, you like the people, not the work. I'm guessing. So, no. When people say they're torn, that's usually it. I've been around. Oh, they're still torn. Hmm. What? What's torn? What? Or strange way of saying it, but why are you torn? Oh, nice. Gonna learn something new. That's cool. Oh, that's cool. So we're not on JavaScript. I hear you. I think having the right project also makes a huge difference. So what are you thinking of becoming? A butterfly. Oh. All right, we're going to find another example of this. Player just has a signal. Or a rustation. Oh, my buddy and I at work, we were like, when we're the last two people left at the company, we will absolutely rewrite everything in Rust. Okay, nothing in there. Main scene. Not registering any data. It just registers it. HUD. Oh, just another signal. Okay, so they're doing a load scene. Yeah, I'm not getting how to add this stuff to the UI. Unless it needs these other elements, like with hint and default. Let's try adding those. As a property builder, which can be used to add a property to the class being registered. Property. Sets a property usage. Well, what's a usage? Oh, I see it. Where is it used? Oh, I see. So we could say this is for the editor. Oh, this one might actually be it with usage. Let's try that. Now, where was usage? Init property usage. Oh, toss an all on there. There we go. Build it. Get to Godot. Okay, it did run that function. I'm not seeing anything in here. Something. Yeah, nothing. See, I thought those properties were going to be useful for setting up scripts. Normally, when you create like a GD script, you can have properties that end up revealing themselves in the inspector. Click on this, see them here. They would just be there. So this is our native script. It's bootstrap, script class, bootstrap, resource, path, fine, name, good. Yeah, not much in there. Wonder if I have to restart that somehow. Let's restart Godot. All right, here, we'll just go back to the project list. Back in. Oh, it's like full screen. Bootstrap. Oh, script variables at the top now. That wasn't there before, was it? Back to the code. Yeah, there were only 3 before. Now there's 4. Okay. Rebuilt that project. Reload. A little unsettling that you have to reload that to get those. There's still no script variables in there. Huh. Alright, I think we're getting closer. Default. No property name default found for property builder. See, that they have same sort of thing. Oh, add property. They're defining a type here. Where are they getting these hints? Okay, property. The GD native init property. All right, let's try that again. That's an init property. Enum hint. No. String hint. I don't know. Let's go look at string hint in the docs real quick. Why are there two? We want file. What is this? Okay. And what is an enum hint? Look at that, enum hint. Actually, I don't care if it's see, I don't think it's going to be something that needs an enum hint. Oh, hold on. So the string property is a path to a file. It's what I want. It should be that. I just don't know what to pass as an enum hint. It could just be empty. Oh, back to the code. Init property enum hint new. Yes, okay. And what did we say? Bootstrap slash something, okay. Back to Godot. Script variable still not there. Quit, yes. Load. Bootstrap, scene, click. Oh, come on. All right, what's the magic that's going to turn this on? Is it going to be... All right. Default. I lost OBS. Yeah. Ah, it's with default. Okay, let's do with default. Hey, Louise Depra, thank you for the follow. Oh, come on. Still not getting the script variable. Wow, okay. But if we run it and then inspect, okay, yes, we get our little warning thing. And remote. Select it over there. script variables are actually gone. Where's something? Ah, okay. Renaming that. To just be something. What if the slash is confusing it somehow? Okay. Godot. Okay, nothing in there yet. Nothing yet. We will figure this out. Okay, that loaded. Check the remote. Script variables. Nothing. Is it the capitalization? I mean, we had something in there before. We're just gonna remove the S real quick. Okay, that recompiled. Start it. Remote, bootstrap. All right, let's simplify this. If we do this, strip all those out, just have a property, the getter and a setter. Seems like it should be doable. This is our error that's showing up, so we know that it loaded. Let's check the remote first. I think that's where we first saw it show up. So now we do have thing. Okay, and if we restart the editor, is it going to show up with extra bits? Oh, yes, and now we have thing, and it's null. Okay. So there are some requirements on this that we do not see in the documentation. Set the browser down there. Okay. Code. Can I do with default? Let's say the default is, oh, what would the default be in here? File, so it's going to be res : / scenes. All right, let's see if that's valid. Okay. Oh, we should have renamed it instead of thing. Let's change it to foo bar. Okay, so I'm guessing that if you have a capital letter in here, it screws something up. There's something meaningful there we don't see yet. Now, if we have foo / bar, so still lowercase, but with a slash, what's that going to give us? Restart the editor. Scene, bootstrap. Ah, now we have foo and bar with our default. Okay, we changed two things at once and it worked. Okay, running it doesn't actually do anything because why we have a getter and setter on there. That should hook up and make this work. Go back to the code for a moment. Godot print. Actually, let's just do go debug. Give it. No, print's better. Getter. There we go. Setter. And we'll give it the scene. Okay. Come back here. Just gonna give it a run real quick. See if that actually loads. Okay, so we got the one element. The getter or setter didn't actually do anything. If we click on remote, all right, it's probably underneath the little bit there. Okay, so remote, bootstrap. Oh, the getter's getting called all the time. Look at that. And if we set it, it welcomes. Okay, so it did. Oh, and it set it to foo/bar. Oh, set foo bar. What? That's okay. So first off, where are these coming from? I think in our code we had setter. No, it's not getting called. So yeah, why isn't that getting hooked up? We have property foobar. We see how that's working. What if we added Baz? Foobar Baz. Gonna build. I'm going to go ahead and restart this. Scene, bootstrap, oh, bar Baz. Oh wow, it just keeps adding levels. Interesting. Set foobar Baz. And now if we run it, that's where our setter gets called. Okay, so the setter is getting called there. And then if we remote debug it, oh, it looks like it just died. Okay. Because it removed the scene but couldn't find the next scene. And it should have alerted us saying that it couldn't find the scene. Good. Back to the code. Oh, you guys never left the code. Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, when we actually ran it, the setter is called. And then, yes, it failed to load the bogus scene that I gave it. Reset that. I like having these overrides in here. These are really nice. Okay. All right, Carter. Let's just call it next scene. Give it another build real quick. Project, quit. Yeah, sure, save and close, whatever. Load again. Okay, and it's auto capitalizing these. And if we run that, it should take us. Didn't take us there. Is there a timing issue? Oh, because ready doesn't. All right, which happens first? I'm guessing it's ready. Okay, we'll build that. Back over here. Oh, the setter didn't get called. Why didn't the setter get called? It's here. Oh, is this because this is the default and it expects us to know what the default is? So if we go back to the code, so if I set that in there, okay, there, ready was called, setter was not called. That's fine. And if we change this so that bootstrap, instead of welcome, we go to somewhere else. Do I have any other scenes? I just have welcome and bootstrap. Let's create a scene that we'll destroy. New scene. Delete me. Where did it go? Oh, come on. Scene. Open scene. Yeah, that didn't work. Try again. Have to save it. Root node is required. Oh, because I didn't select what kind of node it was. Sure, user interface. Add a label. Say delete me. Really big. Give it the theme info. There, now it says delete me. Armin likes. Thank you for joining the stream. Happy Friday. I love Godot. I really like the built-in animation system. There's a lot in there that's just great. Its license is fantastic, and the project is pretty darn active. I'm currently trying to use Rust with it, so I'm trying to figure out some of these little warts on it. Probably take some of these learnings and make something of it. There's our delete me scene. How come I'm using Rust? I like Rust. And there's a GD native Rust library. I don't want to use C#. Just not interested. And GD script is really nice, but I like the compiler support in Rust. I think it just gives you so much more. It helps you to have fewer bugs from starting out. from the very beginning. Okay, where is delete me? There's delete me. Copy path. Great. See, we're gonna go back to Bootstrap. Wrong one. Bootstrap. So delete me scene. And give it a run. Yay, delete me. Okay, so that actually works. And we can see in the output window that, can't see it. There we go. You can see that setter was called here, and then ready was called. So the setters are called before ready is invoked, which is good to know. Okay, we'll stop that. We'll leave delete me for now. It can be some sort of test fodder. Where are we going from there? Okay, so we got that. We didn't get... Okay, with usage, this doesn't seem to be needed. I think we're more constrained by our property name, having a capital letter in it. All right, let's see if we can get the hint working. I don't think we need that one though. Okay, still that worked. We give this a quick reload, I think. Well, let's see if it does anything. I don't see any hint info. I go ahead and set back to default, save it, reload the project. Is there just a reload project button? That would be nice. Oh, look, it's got a little file thing on the right now. Awesome. Yay. Oh, that's perfect. Lovely. Next scene. And all it says is next scene. How do we give it some sort of description there? That's not all that helpful. Add property. I wonder if there's something else with property. Let's look at add property and see. Yeah, I don't see it. All right, let's go back to Godot for a moment. Going to here. See if I can take a screenshot of this. Oh, it drifted to my next. Hold on, let's try again. Do that. Okay, I'm gonna drop something in the Discord in, oh goodness, the GD native section. Let's see. Hello. On day 3 of Godot Loves Rust, is there a way to set the documentation, or a property hint? So if you're not a member of the the Godot engine Discord, probably won't see this in there, but I'm gonna drop that in there. All right. There we go. Okay, we've got some paper cuts from today. Little death by 1,000 cuts here. Um, when adding these, goodness, the documentation here really needs some help. Property builder, okay. Go back one. I actually want to go to the class builder. Class builder, when we say add property, this name, oh goodness, there's a lot to that name. Does it have source? Oh, it does have source. Oh, it just creates a new property builder. If we go into property builder, its name is already set. Okay. Is it OL or AL? Capital. It's an AL, isn't it? Case. Yeah, it's AL. And just to verify that, if we were to give this an N, a capital N, and build this again, it should just stop working. Verify that. Project. Hey, Wizard Frag, this is now Rust in Godot. Yes. Okay, we're going to save this scene. How am I finding it? Lacking documentation. Mostly there's a bunch of little quirks that you don't see off the bat, and so there's a lot of exploration. Now it works. Why the heck is this working? Um, we just added this property here, and it's working just fine. So here, if we run it, oh goodness. So let me go to, I have to fix a scene real quick. Welcome. Theme. Yeah, that should be fine. What's wrong with our theme? Size 32, yep. Look, our buttons are tiny. Our font data didn't load this time. All right, anyhow, what I was trying to show was normally we can go to Bootstrap and Bootstrap will take us to the welcome scene. I think it was the delete me thing that screwed up the theme somehow. Anyhow, now in Bootstrap we added this property so that we can change what the first scene you go to is. So when the app starts up, does it go to welcome or does it go to something else? Say not welcome. We're going to go to delete me and now run this on the app, and here we go. So is empty. So that works, and it works pretty well. Some of the other little bits, if we go back to the code, almost there we go. So here in the code, we've just done a couple little things trying to just use Godot, use Rust. I was porting some simple scripts that I had in a GD script in a different project. The one thing that you have to remember to do is to add your classes to be exported. Otherwise, they're not registered. Godot can't find them. It doesn't tell you. There's already a bug about this, and it looks like they're going to be addressing this soon with auto registration. Okay. So all that will probably go away with auto reg. Now if we go back to something else, Bootstrap. Where do we begin? Here we have a simple object, right? It's got a string. It has a couple of functions that are not exported, and then one that is. So when it is ready, this function gets called. When it's constructed, the init function is called. There are some oddities in that. Okay, well, this one is actually, this function, if you dig into it, is called by the native class that you're deriving from. And so when it sets up your when it writes a bunch of code for you, it'll go through and ensure that this is called. So you have to have that, and this is your constructor. So instead of having like a typical new type pattern constructor, you can't have that here. I mean, you could, it just wouldn't be used. There's that. There's also this owner bit. So in Godot, go back here. The layout of the Rust stuff actually mimics this really, really well. I like it, but it's strange when you first get I don't know, when it's introduced to you. Now Bootstrap here, if we look at this scene, we've got one node and it's got a script. Okay. Well, is it the node that has a script or the script that has a node? Now, which is it? So this is a control node. Bootstrap is. So when we look at the script, going back to the code, you'll see that when your script, this bootstrap.rs file is our script, you run that script, the control is passed into you. You do not extend from this component. I think it's a pretty clear and simple way of expressing this. It does mean that on anything that you export, your second argument must be the control object. And then also this bleeds into some things that are just as part of the system but not really exported, like the property getter and setter here for the next scene. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up some of those. We're seeing what the call order was. And yes, the setters are called before ready is. What else? Things like this are hard. Scene manager, go to next scene. If we look at this code behind that, this looks fairly simple, right? And if we were to look at what I had in GD script, that's what I had. I had a scene manager. I say, hey, go to this thing over there. And scene manager has a little signal. That's fine. It would do a couple things where it would, when it starts out, get the tree, figure out what the current scene is, and keep track of a couple little things. The porting of GD script to the Rust script is straightforward. It's pretty simple to port. Stuff like this here, instance, isn't the same. It just isn't. So if we go back and look, when we go to the scene, we actually have to look at, well, first off, having some sort of shared data, or basically data that exists when it starts up and is somehow available to all singletons here. If we were to use a scene manager, where is it? Here we have current scene in the GD script code. Right? Now, when somebody says go to this other scene, we then go call this deferred thing, and some magic happens. But if we were to go to Bootstrap, say scene manager, go to this other thing, it's scene manager here is a singleton because we set it up that way in Godot. On project settings and autoload, we can say scene manager, which means that there's only one of them, right? Which is great because you can just reference this one singular thing in your GD script, and there's a lot of syntactic sugar that makes that work. Now, that doesn't exist in Rust, all that sugar. So to get the same sort of effect, and to be able to say things like this, I'm basically just using a static here, a non-member function. It's a class function, or I guess this is associated type function? No. What do you call this in Rust? It's not a class. It's just a function associated with a structure, but not an instance. Like a namespaced function. Anyhow, so essentially what we have to do inside of that function, because we don't have the syntactic sugar, we have to actually find the real one. Right? So we're finding that registered singleton, and then we invoke a function on it. The little things like that are cumbersome and not clear when you start out. It would be nice if there were utilities for this, common ways of just getting auto-loaded elements. So did I leave you in Godot? I did. Shame on me. So this is what I was talking about. We have the function here that's just associated with the class. It's basically namespace by the class. We get a hold of the current scene by keeping around this node. So it's a lazy static basically. So we have a little bit of dirtiness around there, but it works. It makes it possible to have simple code like this, and we're going to have a lot more of these lines of code than the other lines of code. So I want this to be easy, simple to call, just done. Lets us go between scenes and clean up scenes really, really effectively. Okay. Now, where were we? We were doing properties. Yes. Actually wanted to do a couple more of these things. So on the welcome scene, in here we have these functions that are exported, and they're going to be wired up to signals. But if somebody clicks on a button, then you can go to such and such scene. I wish there was a way to. What? Probably is. Okay, let's make this generic. Basically, I want a scene changer, so that if you click on a button, we can associate this one little tiny script to this, make it much more concise, so that we don't have like, oh well, here's a a signal handler for if you click the login button, and then here's a signal handler if you click the create account button. Why don't we just have a signal handler that knows how to change scenes? That seems pretty straightforward. Let's create one of those. Scene changer, scene changer. I didn't want to name it that. Explore. That's better. Okay. Do not breathe water. Oh, I'm glad there is a mute button. You didn't want to hear that. Okay. Struct. Scene changer. We're going to derive from a couple of different things. Let's go back to Bootstrap. We're just going to derive from node. I don't think it matters if it's a button or something else at this point. So I think we can attach to something whose base type. In fact, we could just attach to object. Okay, we do need GD native here. Use GD native. Everything. Let's go wire it up. Lib mod scene changer. What did I call it? Scene changer. Okay. Good. That's wired up. Oh, no Vim actions available. Lies. Lies. Scene changer. Yeah, there should be issues. Let's restart all curve completion. Okay. There we go. Private. Perfect. Okay. Hub scene changer. Good. Implement scene changer. Okay. We also need register. It wants an init function init underscore init. Owner is going to be object. And we return self because this is our constructor. Return a self. And now here, function register. And I'm actually going to snag the one from Bootstrap. Okay. So if this is a scene changer, let's change to what? Add property. This next scene is fine. I don't want to default on this. I want it specified. Okay, now we did figure all this out. Toss this in there. Little code duplication. Next scene. Now in this case, I'm going to have it be an option to a string. By default, we don't do anything. Ah, yes, and these controls here need to be object. Next scene. Ah, yes. So in this case, we have an option or unwrap or default. Okay, that's good. We have next scene. We have a scene changer. A little class builder. Now we need some function to bind to. So we actually change scenes. It's in Bootstrap, isn't it? I'm feeling a little lazy today. We're gonna have change scene. Self with owner. Oh, that's object. We have to import that. Scene manager, scene manager. Oh, and we need, was it methods? I don't remember. Bootstrap had methods, yes. Could borrow that. And here, this needs to be mutable. Ooh, I know we want to clone this. They have cloned on option. Oh, what is it on option? Oh. Nope, that's not it. Ah, here we go. Option. Yeah, they've cloned. Okay. And why is it upset about this? Why? I don't get this. Why does that not work? Oh, because it's not mutable. Okay. Here, join me in staring at the documentation. We could just map it and clone it. Okay, so we need to make this. I'm sorry, left you over there. There we go. As ref cloned, unwrapper default. We get a string back. Just that easy. Okay, now we have our little change scene, which should work. Register function. And we'll just be able to toss this on these different buttons, attach little hooks to them, and simplify some of our other code. I'm liking this already. Okay. Oh, I gotta build that. Let me go, or go build. We're already in Godot. Okay, we have Bootstrap. And what this does is it changes the scene whenever it loads up. And we're going to save that one now. We're going to go into Welcome. Welcome had a couple of things. Got these buttons here. Now, when we do that, signal does go to a login screen. Right, we're calling some function on this other script, on the welcome script, and we don't want to do that. Go ahead and go back and change that. I'm going to strip those functions out of that. Back to welcome. So these little bits here, those are going away. And arguably, this shouldn't be on welcome. This should be on the development button itself, shouldn't it? Okay, we'll come back and clean that up in a bit. Cargo build that. Back to Godot. Okay, now those functions don't actually exist. Let's clear signal. Let's connect that. Disconnect this one. Go ahead and save it. Good. Now on this, we're going to attach a script. Native script, yes, it is called scene changer. And we're going to put that not in scenes, but in scripts. I don't know, come on, you can do this. Scene changer, open that. Oh, it inherits from object. It's called valid class name. Oh, scene changer. Create. Okay. Finish wiring this up. We need to attach this to the native bits. Scene changer. Save. Okay, looks good. We're going to do the same thing here. Attach this to I wish I could have it in this layout more often. I don't really care for the view thing, scene changer. Okay, we'll load that. So now we have both of these are wired up to scene changer. And now when we press on that, I'm going to connect that to self. Say change scene. Should be wired up to a self. Change scene. Ah, but in the inspector, button, base button, control, canvas, node, yada. Oh, script. Let's give this a save and reload. That's the wrong one. This one. Why? Huh. Let's kill off Godot for a moment. Bring it back. Huh? Couldn't load it before. Now it's fine with it. Suspicious? Yes. Very suspicious. Okay. We want the welcome scene. These are buttons. Warning, children of a container get their position. Okay. Now we have next scene. Oh, it's a null by default. I don't like that. But now we can go and choose a different one. So when we click on the login button, we should be taken to the login scene, which doesn't exist yet. Let's create some more scenes. Okay, but I think this is the route I want to go. Having smaller scripts that are very targeted to what they need to be, what they need to do, and that'll let me kind of build this up as Legos. Okay, and was it changed? We're gonna wire this one back up. Node, pressed, connect. Change scene. Okay, done. What about this one? Its script should really be over here. Should be up there. Okay. Going back to the terminal. Back here. We got about. Oh dear. I should probably get some other stuff done. It's a little bit shorter stream than normal. Gotta get some stuff done for day job, which is coming up soon. We've been really busy. we're gonna cut it here. Have it a good spot. It's been good hanging out. Gonna go. Oh. Wow, there's like nobody to raid on right now. Quick Rust question. Sure. What's up? Yep, when you create a vector like that, how does it know what type of element the vector is going to contain? So if that's all you do, it won't know. But usually you'll be doing something with the vector. So if you have something like a, let's just open a file real quick. So if you had a vector, okay. Now it should complain and say, I don't know what type this is for. Right? So it's saying, hey, you need type annotations for this. In which case you could either add type annotations on the left. Say it's like a U8 or something, right? Just characters. So you could do that. Or without that, if you start to add things to the vector, it will infer the type based on what you're adding. So if we say v dot push string from foobar, now it knows what the type of the vector is based on how it's being used. Yeah, you can specify it at the beginning, or you can just let the compiler figure it out. Okay, yeah, both are valid. I find that actually not being explicit here has worked out really well in some cases and poorly in others. So if I say, oh, I want the number 8 in there, well, what type did it actually choose for me? I don't know what size this vector is. I can't tell if it's a U8s, like what is it? So in this case, I'd have, say, oh, well, this is type U size, and that actually changed it, or U8. And on number types like this, you can use a underscore followed by the kind to be explicit. You'll also find this if you're using the macro. So in this case, I want a vector of zeros and I want 16 of them. Okay, so the macro is going to create this. It happens to know that I have U8s in there because of this line. If I remove that line, it doesn't know what type it is anymore. In which case I would have to say, oh, these are U8s. Yeah, and if you want space pre-allocated, you don't have to use the new. You can say vec with capacity, and specify capacity there. I hope that makes sense. I'll go ahead and be in Discord, but I got to get some stuff cranked out before my day starts. So, yep, just like that, yes. Oh, actually, I don't. It's either a U or an I. I don't know if you meant choosing one or the other, but yeah, it's a U32 or an I32. Yeah, it knows that it's an integer. As well, they don't have unsigned floats. Actually, I never thought about that. Are there ones? Cool. All right, Commander Thrashton. We'll see y'all. Bye bye.